Welcome to the third episode of the Mechs on Deck podcast. Changing up a little bit today. We're actually talking about planning out your boards and how effective planning can lead to a fantastic experience in this community and in this hobby. First, we have something that is very exciting to talk about, a group buy that I just started. So we're going to move on over, take a peek at that first, and then we'll get into the topic.
All right, so the KBD Fans 8X Mark II. This is something that they announced within the last few months, and this thing is one of KBD Fans, to me, one of their first kind of big jumps into trying to separate themselves from that weird lingo that they're in, where they're like, well, we don't want to be seen as the cheap brand or the cheap one-off that you can get. And I think they're really going to check off a lot of boxes for a lot of people. I know Nathan Kim just streamed this on his video, or on his Twitch, the other day, and we'll actually put a link to that in the channel below, or the description below. But he really enjoyed it. I think for the price, I think it's almost unbeatable at a TKL size. You can get this in a Win keyless or a Windows key. It comes USB Type C with an extremely flush input for your USB device. Lots of different colors. Anodizing, according to Nathan Kim, he said it was great. I believe they've really upped their game recently. I can't say for every single finish, and I can't say for how this new E white will look. I personally am in on this board. Just full disclosure, we are no way affiliated with anybody right now. These are all our own thoughts and opinions. But if you want to get one of these boards, all except I believe the E white and the polycarb are going to be $250. And then a polycarbonate plate is going to run you $35. A brass plate is going to run you $50. So you're looking anywhere between $300 to about $320. And honestly, I mean, I got in on this because I think this is a steal for what you're getting. I think this is fantastic.
Yeah, I think this is a great option. I think this is a huge step up for KBD fans and their overall quality. I think this is exciting for a lot of people in the community to see them kind of take it to the next level. And this excites everyone who, maybe if you're not into the TKL layout, you're excited about what this means for what's next with KBD fans and the type of boards that they're going to produce in the future. I'm excited to see how the E-White and the polycarbonate come out. Pricing's awesome. Half plate options as well, which is really cool.
It's neat that a lot of people are starting to do that now.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing we've talked about a couple different times about how getting into different innovation. One group buy runner does it, and then everyone else kind of follows on, makes the options available. It makes it great. The fact that you can mix up the top and bottom case is also huge. And there's not a lot of group buys where you can do that. So we're both really excited about this board. Obviously, Chewy's in on it. I don't think I'll be getting in on it. I'm not a big TKL guy, but I actually may get in on the numpad that is a part of this, just to have for work to add to my orange. I think it'd be a great option to add into it. So
yeah. So, but moving on. If you're looking to be getting that, you might be concerned about timing and what caps to get and switches and all of that. And so we'll take you to our next and our topic for the week, which is planning around group buys. So, you've decided you want to take a dive into the mechanical keyboard world, and you have an idea of what you want, but you realize, well, we have to deal with group buys now. Like, what on earth? Why do I have to spend a bunch of money and wait 7 months to potentially get what I get? And why can't I not just buy an HHKB off Amazon? So, you know, we hope that you decide to get in on the mechanical keyboard trend, but where do you start?
Yeah, I think if you're going in with a plan can really help you. You see a board on mechanical keyboards. The first thing you want to figure out, really, you see all these fancy boards. First thing you want to figure out, your switches. You want to know what you want out of your board in terms of feel and in terms of if you want tactile, linear, or clicky switches, what brand of switches you want. Get a switch tester.
Absolutely.
We've said it so many times. Get a switch tester, figure out what you want, because at the end of the day, you can get a board that costs $1,200, $1,500, but if you're not happy with the switches that you have in it, you're not going to enjoy the board. So I would say that's really the first step in your planning process, is figuring out what switches you want to put in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then on top of that, some might ask, well, how many switches do I need to buy? And that's going to depend on what size of the board. And so you might want to go with a TKL because you've been going from you're coming from a normal kind of layout keyboard, maybe a full size. Maybe you don't need that numpad. Maybe you use a full size at work and you've got your MacBook at home, so you don't need that numpad anymore. So you got to find what size you want, and that really just depends on what features you need. For instance, someone like me, even though I did say I got in on the TKL, I'm most comfortable with a 60%. I don't find that I need the F row as much as I need to, and I've got them all macroed, so I can still use them when I need. And I find that my macro for my arrow keys are just as good where they are on my keyboard. So I don't really find that. So I think, all right, well, I do need a number row, and I can't go down to a 40%, but or anything below that. But I find 60% perfect for me. So all my builds that I kind of plan out, I go, all right, well, what do I want to do with my 60%? So, and then on top of that, when looking at group buys, you realize that you're not always going to, it's not always going to be perfect. There are definitely those people out there that are going to run into that perfect board, and that's awesome. And more power to you. I hope you enjoy it. But sometimes, they're just at the moment, you can't find one. You can't find one on Mech Market. You can't find one running in a group buy. So, are you willing to compromise? If you're a 60% lover, are you going to be okay with getting a 65%? Like right now, there's a couple 60% boards, but the Think 6.5 is coming out right now. And maybe, you're a 60% user that goes, well, maybe I can get over the fact that it's got arrow. I really want a board, and I really want it in the polycarb, and it's going to be great. So,
yeah. And don't be afraid to necessarily try something new in terms of your layout. If you are familiar with something, if you're someone who's more experienced in the community and you see something new that you love the way the board looks, if you're someone who loves 60% and you look at the Think 6.5 and you're like, that board is beautiful, I love the little badge that's on there, but I don't really know if I want the numbers. If you're open to trying it out and you have the ability to get it, do it. Worst comes to worst, you might end up loving it, and you might be changed from a 60% lover to a 65% lover. So if you're willing to compromise on things, you may end up learning, hey, I really love this. I never really was a big fan of the 75%. I always loved 65%. Bought the orange 75. I don't use the F keys that often, but I do really like the aesthetic of the way the board is laid out and the way it looks from the aesthetic standpoint. I think it looks really good. I like the extended bezels. You can see more of the color of the board. Allows you to match things in terms of keycaps, which is what we're going to get into now, is in terms of what caps you're going to put on the board. If you are someone who's more experienced in this hobby, this is really kind of where you may start with your planning process. If you're someone who knows what switch type you like, you know exactly what you want in your board. or you have an idea of what you want on your board, and you see, hey, this keycap group by GMK Mizu is about to go live. I want that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a color scheme in mind, you know where you want this to fit, you know what board it wants to fit on. You can really honestly maybe even start at caps.
Yeah, exactly. And you can look at like a Mizu, and like just we're just saying for the GMK Mizu, you can look at that and go, oh wow, now I really need a whiteboard,
Right.
because I think that on a whiteboard would look amazing. And sometimes it's actually easier to start from the caps and then move to what you decide you want in a board, um, because you kind of go, okay, well, I know what color scheme I and then in a sense of, if you've got GMK like white on black, for instance, just sitting in a bag in your drawer, you're probably going to be wanting to look a little bit more and find the right board, but there are significantly more options when it comes to like a color scheme with keycap sets. That's just inevitably how it is. And so you look at that and you go, hey, maybe I want to start from the ground up. Maybe I like Tokyo Nights, and I think that black set would look great, and then that on a blackboard would look great. And you know what? I should use MX blacks and just make it a theme. So that can kind of get the ball rolling a lot. So there's not really a right or wrong way to start. Um, but we do advise that you do have a plan for them.
Yeah, always having a switch in mind that you want to put in your board is a good idea to go into something, because if you see this, you see a keycap set get put out on interest check, or you say, hey, this is going up for group buy, it's coming out next week. Have a plan in mind, so I know what I want to put this on, I know what I want to use in it, so then that way when it all gets here, you're not sitting for another 2 or 3 weeks waiting with all this cool gear, not able to put it all together because you're not sure.
Absolutely. So that's going to kind of move us into our next part, which is um, now what? I know what I want. I want GMK Waves. I think GMK Waves is the set of the future right now, and I'm going to buy I'm going to buy every single kit that comes with it, and I'm excited. Well, what are you going to put it on? And then when it comes to group buys, well, let's say you only have about $200-$300 a month to work with until your next paycheck. You might not get a chance to immediately purchase the caps and the board at the same time, and that you could run into issues that way. Um, so if you have the money, and what switch, one thing that I would advise is most switches are pretty easy to come by. There's only a handful of switches that are like group buy run. But I mean, if you're looking like the ones that can be difficult are the Yock switches by Novel Keys, because they do sell out. But as you've seen, he's already making more. And then some of these kind of one-off group buys, like the Linyars and the Fey switches. And if you can't get those, I mean, you could try your luck at aftermarket. But there's I personally, we'll talk about this on another episode, but I don't think there's an end-all be-all switch for anyone. I think that a lot of people do like multiple switches. So maybe look into having that board be this switch, and but you don't have to get your switches at the exact time, because let's say you think Zelio 78s are the greatest thing that's ever been made in a switch. You can go get those right now. You're most likely going to be able to get them in about 2 months. So
Yeah, because one of the things that's the beauty of having that group buy time, having that waiting time between when you make that keycap purchase, say like the example of GMK Waves, right? Okay, the earliest I'll probably get that set is maybe around September. I think that's the plan for that set to actually come out. If I'm going to get GMK Waves and I want a KBD 8X, or even maybe you want a Tofu, right? Something that's readily available. Let's use that as an example. So I want GMK Waves, a Tofu Wind Keyless, and I want Zelia 78s. Well, the beauty of it being a group buy, you can plan it out if you know that. You can plan it out from a monetary standpoint as well and not stretch yourself to a point where you've bought, you've spent $700 on your board and you're not even going to get to build it for a few months. You can buy get in on the group buy for Waves, get all the child kits you want and that ramen artisan cap, invest that money in that, wait in 2 months, you're looking at June, maybe then you pick up your switches, you got a little extra money. And then maybe in August, when the board's about to come, you go ahead and buy that tofu off of KBD fans. And then what do you know? It's September, everything's here, you're ready to go. And you can build that board day one when you get that switch. You could even maybe buy some placeholder caps off of KBD fans or get something that's not too crazy expensive, and then have it ready to go when Waves comes in and just swap those out and put them on there, and you'll feel great that you're all planned out and you have the ability to build that board day one of getting that key component from the group buy.
I will say, nothing from personal experience, nothing is worse than not having the keycaps that you want. I think personally, this is just me, I think if you are planning all of this, try and get the keycaps first, because keycaps can go on multiple boards, and if you already have one, you can at least go, cool, I've got this awesome set, so I'm going to throw it on this board for right now, but I know this other one's coming. But when you have a board and you don't have keycaps for it, and you're just kind of sitting there, well, I don't have the right keycaps, and I'm using a weird space bar. I'm using a numpad key as my space bar right now because nothing's coming in. It can be a rough feeling. So, but that's just from personal experience, because as Osiris said, you want to build yourself an experience. You want this all to be a great experience. That's why a lot of us are in the hobby. It's a great unboxing experience, a great building experience, just something to be able to look forward to. So when you have them all there, all together, you don't have a board sitting with switches on it waiting for caps, then you're good to go.
Yeah, because when you see these key sets that are released, or these keyboards, the actual board that get released, for a group buy, you have a picture in your mind of what you want that in-game board to look like, of what kind of color scheme you might want on it, what kind of switches you like, how you think it may feel when you do in fact get it. And that's what planning is for. I know Chewy and I were talking last night about our plans and about what we have planned for. I have a board that's coming in this week that I have all planned out in like a 3-month ordeal of how I'm going to switch it from, one switch to another, and then maybe do different LEDs, how I'm going to change my board at work. So one board can, when you get further in this hobby, one board that comes in, one keycap set that comes in can affect your entire arsenal of keyboards that you have. And that's Absolutely. One thing that planning really helps out, because you can go, oh, I can change up my board that I have at work and change up my board at home and not really do much in terms of purchases. And that's what really helps. One thing that does suck sometimes with group buys is delays. I know.
I can. So let's rewind the clock. It's about I got in on the group buy for GMK Olivia. I think I had a Tina at the time, and I was like, oh, this will look great on my Tina. This will be great. And then I was like, you know what? About a month later, I was like, all right, my job situation changed up, and I was making a little bit more money. And I was like, okay, cool. I could probably get in on one of these, really nice group buys. And the M0110 came out. And I was like, perfect, done. This is one of the coolest boards.
This is the board.
I still really like the look of the board. So I hopped in the group buy, and it was like, oh, it's going to be here in November. And GMK Olivia was initially supposed to be like either September or October, and Olivia came in November. So like that was a 2-month delay. And I will let you know when the M0110 ships because I am still waiting on that.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. They've had some issues with different manufacturers and gravers and all that, and it's just been.
It's a part of the process. It's an unfortunate process, but you do need to factor in that sometimes if you think, you think GMK Waves is going to be perfect on the Think 6.5, and I really hope the Think 6.5 doesn't take that long. I want it to be a successful group buy. I wish nothing but the best from Old Cat. But what happens if you get the GMK Waves and then for whatever reason that one takes 9 months and Waves comes in 6? Yeah, you might be sitting on it. We're not trying to deter you from that. We just want you to be prepared. We are a part of a hobby that expects very high quality, and when you want the highest quality and most color accuracy to what the pictures and renders you give, there's going to be delays because people are just trying to option.
Yeah, it's very few and far between when a delay for a group buy is due to something other than wanting to make sure the quality is there. Sometimes it happens with manufacturers not being the most responsive, not being necessarily getting the work done on time. That does happen. It's kind of the slave to the system at that point. There's not a whole lot you can do. There's not a whole lot the runner can do. Be patient and be understandable. And just know, hey, it's coming and it's going to be good when it gets here.
So, and then our last thing we want to say, we're not trying to tell you what you do with your money. We don't care. If you can and you're not, eating ramen noodles every night, and if you want to, go for it, whatever, but buy as much as you want. And we're not going to tell you what to do. But avoid running into we talked about this in our last episode, but the fear of missing out. Do your best to try and avoid buying all these things, because then you might ruin the hype for something else. And I'll be honest and say that my hype for the M0110 has died down since I got my TX60. It's just a part of the hobby because there was a delay. So you don't want to get in on all these group buys and then you kind of go, well, this thing that I was so excited to spend my money on, I no longer even care that I got here. And if you want to resell it, that's fine, but just know that a big part of what will get you into this hobby, and a big part of what will make your experience a little bit better is, when you do decide to buy something, stick with it and try and make sure you try and create yourself that awesome experience, because nothing's better about this hobby than getting a brand new board, building it for the first, it working on the first time, by the way.
Yeah.
Making sure the QMK is great. When that all flashes perfectly, you're great. And typing away. And it's a great experience.
Yeah, and we have a great community when it comes to making sure. I know Chewy just parted ways with one of his key sets, and it gave him the opportunity to get something else. And that's the other thing you can think about when going into something is, you may be hyped on something, it takes a little bit longer, there might be some delays, you're not as hyped on it, you build it out, and then you realize, hey, this really isn't that great of an experience for me. This board is kind of jaded at this point, or maybe you just don't really like it that as much as you thought you would. There's always Mech Market. You can always put it up and get in on something else that you think is great, that you might be excited about, but just don't, like what Chewy said, don't overdo it. Don't put yourself into a point where you're not able to eat each day. I know that can get hard. I've been there myself. I'm almost in that point right now of purchases, but no, it's knowing your limits and knowing and understanding, hey, something else is always going to come around, something that you may like more than what's out right now. So don't overdo it. Don't push yourself too far. Just be comfortable. Comfortable.
Yeah. And my final thoughts on this: try and know what you.
Yeah.
Do your absolute best to know what you want and know what you like. Go to a meetup if you can. You know, you might swear that you're a 60% person, and then you come across a 65% board and you've just never tried one and go, oh wow, I actually really like this, or vice versa. And that's, I've been trying to get Osiris on for the 60% for a while, just preaching that you don't need arrow keys, but that's just me. So I think, do your best if you can. I know some people are obviously going to be unable to try everything that they want, and be able to try everything that's out there, but try your best to try everything, because you don't know if you are a win keyless person or a 60% person or even a 40% person, or an 1800 layout. You don't want to create a bad experience for yourself by buying something you don't actually like. And that's why, with a switch tester we talked about, it's a cheap way to understand what you like. And with caps, there are different, we didn't really talk about this, we'll talk about this in another episode. There are a lot of different profiles. Try the profiles, but Cherry's kind of the most common. Cherry, SA, and OEM are going to be your three kind of big ones, with DSA and XDA kind of there's up there as well. But if you can, try some different caps, and just try not to, you don't want to spend too much money and then realize that you've spent $500 on 9 different things when you could have bought what essentially is an end game. So
yeah, the worst feeling is getting to the end of what you thought would be the end, and typing on it and being disappointed and feeling like you wasted your money. So just that's what we want to talk about. We just want to talk about planning it out so that doesn't happen to you. So that way you put yourself in a position to where you're happy, or you're in a position to where if you're not as happy as you would be, you can get yourself out of it, and you've made decisions that are good quality decisions, and not something where you're to be disappointed in yourself. So
yep. I mean, it's your hard-earned money. So
yeah, it is.
Anyway, so if you have any questions or comments, concerns, whatever you want to talk about, you can hit us up. And we got the Discord link in the description below. We have a very exciting guest for our episode Friday. And make sure to subscribe, comment what you like, like or dislike the video. Tell us what you think. We want to know. And just check us out for future content. Like I said, we are very excited for our this upcoming Friday is going to be an exciting day for us with our exciting guest, and you'll just have to wait and see.
Subscribe and see.
Subscribe and find out.
Y'all have a good time. Thanks for stopping by.
Get a switch tester.